Hello. Today I'll be reviewing 4 different multi-tools from Leatherman and from Gerber. Just give you an idea of a couple of different pros and cons of each of them, just based on what I've used them with. First one we have here is the Leatherman Wingman. I've been carrying that one for about a year. It's been my everyday carry for that time. I had a lot of experience with it. It's served me very well so far. The Leatherman Crunch, I've had that one about a month now. I've been using that a little bit, and tell you about that one. The Leatherman Surge, I just got in today, played with it a little bit, haven't really got any kind of field experience with it yet. And lastly is the Gerber, I believe it's the Model 600, I believe Amazon calls it the 07550. Gerber has kind of funny names for their tools. That one I have not used hardly at all. I absolutely hate it. So some people love the Gerbers. Just personal preference. I happen to hate it. I've been using Leatherman for years and I love them. So first one we'll start off with the Leatherman Wingman. As I mentioned, I've been carrying that one for about a year. It's been my everyday carry and it's fantastic. It's versatile. It's very compact. You can see it's smaller. I think it's the smallest one out of the bunch here. Much smaller than the Surge, smaller even than the Crunch. The Gerber is just huge, the biggest one on the table. The Leatherman Wingman, being compact, it fits very well in the pocket. It's got a little pocket clip that came with it. It's very cheap, actually. Not cheap in the sense that it's, not cheap in the sense that it's going to break or it's not worth a lot, but just dollar-wise, great value for the money. I think Amazon has them for $30 right now. I paid $20 at Home Depot. For $20, or even if you paid $30 for it, it's still an excellent value for your money. There really isn't anything this nice for that kind of price. The pliers are very smooth. I've had it for a year, so it's had a chance to break itself in, but even brand new, they were very good out of the box. It's got the pliers, there's a little bit of tension on it, not a lot, but just enough to not be flopping around and still be very light. The spring on them is very good. The shape of it, it's very handy how where the pocket clip is and where the knife is, they just happen to line up very well. When you pull it out of your pocket, your thumb is already, the way you're holding it, your thumb is already on the hole. So it just pops out and the blade is very smooth. The blade's a little small. I think it's the smallest, well, the second smallest one out of the bunch, but for being a compact blade, it's about, it's a fair size, it's workable. It is partially serrated. It's about half of it has teeth, the rest is smooth. I've gone through many sharpenings with this. The blade, it does hold, it does get very sharp with a good sharpener, but the steel on it isn't quite top quality, so it kind of loses the edge fairly quickly. Good, but again, not perfect, not spectacular, but still very good for the money. It's an excellent tool. The knife is on the outside, opens right up. The scissors are on the outside, those pop right open. All the other tools are all inside the handles. And you can see more detail on what those tools are on Amazon, but you got your file, bottle opener, some little hook there. Haven't really found a good use for it. On this side you got your Phillips head and a large slotted screwdriver. The Phillips head here, it's very versatile. It works well on number 1 Phillips all the way up to number 3 Phillips. It fits them all very well. Even though it is a narrow profile, I don't know how well you can really see it on this camera, but it's kind of thin. See, it's wide on this side, but narrow here. It fits the compact profile, and even though it is flattened, it still works very well for most screws. Your standard wide slotted head screwdriver, and back to the one of the cons that I don't like about this knife. The file on this is practically useless. It's very short. The texture is all right. It's fair. It's a rough edge, but not particularly sharp. it's also home to the small slotted screwdriver on the end of it as well. There's a ruler on the opposite side. They call it a ruler, but really it's so small, it's, you know, again, kind of useless. It's about an inch. I don't know what you're going to measure with that. So yeah, that's one con with it. That file is kind of useless. One other thing I don't like about it, the scissors on it are pretty small, and they're kind of flimsy. They didn't really hold up too well. They wore out pretty quickly, and they just kind of wiggle a little bit. And if you know, it's hard to explain, but if you've had scissors before where the hinge just kind of wobbles a little bit so that paper doesn't really get cut, it kind of slides in between the two halves. Yeah, it doesn't cut very well. That wore out pretty quickly, and the scissors are kind of useless now. But all things considered, for the price you pay for it, you get an excellent pair of pliers, you get an excellent knife, very good screwdrivers, you know, good selection there, very good tool for the money. It's been my everyday carry for a long time, and never let me down. Next on the block, we get the Leatherman Crunch. Again, I've had this one for about a month. I've got a little bit of use out of it. It's very different from the other tools in the sense that it's a locking set of pliers, like vice grips. If you've ever used vice grips, this is vice grips in your pocket. It's a little more, it takes some steps to open it. What you do is you open it here, folds back, this pops out, and then you lock it in, and now you got your pliers. Because of that, I wouldn't say it's complex, but it's definitely more than I want to carry every day. It's not going to be my go-to tool for anything, unless there's some specific times when you need to have vice grips. Sometimes when you need to lock onto a fastener. For that, I do actually carry it every day. I have a pouch on my belt, and I carry this as a backup. I still carry the Wingman as my daily pocket carry. Anything that I need, I go to the Wingman first, and then if I happen to need the locking pliers, maybe for a second hand to lock onto something, then I have them available, and there really isn't any other tool in the market that's going to have that feature. Fold these back up, and the tools on these is, again, just a little bit awkward. I wouldn't say it's not really bad, but it's just a little more awkward than the other more refined tools. It does have your Phillips head screwdriver. This one is it's number 1 and number 2 only. It's not going to fit your number 3 Phillips head. It's got a couple different sizes of flat head screwdrivers. You got one on the file here. It's a pretty wide slotted head screwdriver. And it's got a smaller one and one that's kind of in between. So it's got 3 different sizes, slotted head. The file on this one is a little bit better. It's not much bigger, but it does have a much better, it's got a rough side and a fine side. A lot more useful, really. Even though it's still kind of small, it is a fairly functional file. The blade, it has one knife blade on it, and it is fully serrated. There's no straight edge. There's no straight edge blade on this at all. I guess if you had to have just one, serrated is a pretty good way to go. That is there, and again, it's not going to be a one-handed tool. Even for the knife blade inside, you're still going to need 2 hands just to open it and get the knife blade out. One thing worth noting as well, being that it is the inside knife blade, when it is open, it's on the opposite side of where, if you notice, this is on the right-hand side and this is on the left-hand side. That kind of, when you're cutting against something, you can't get the blade all the way tight against it to make a cut, whereas on an outside opening blade, you can get totally right down onto the edge of whatever you're cutting. So that's another nice perk about the Wingman versus other tools. But again, still a very capable, still a very good tool, the Leatherman Crunch. But again, I would not recommend this if you're going to carry one tool. I would not recommend this as being the one. It is, however, a very good backup. If you're going to carry a second one, say you're going to carry 2 pliers, a set of locking pliers is a very good choice, and I do carry that as a backup. The Leatherman Surge, as I just mentioned, I got this today. Haven't really played with them much, but it feels very solid. It is definitely a full-size tool, whereas this is a compact. This is much heavier and noticeably bigger. I did get the pocket clip with it. However, being in the pocket, it is definitely, this being compact, it kind of disappears into your pocket. You hardly notice it. This one, you definitely, I wouldn't say it's uncomfortable, but you definitely notice that it's there. Got a little more weight to it. It does also have a much larger selection of tools, however. It's got outside opening blades. It's got both a serrated, and if you turn it around, it has the straight edge on the other side. So both blades are both outside accessible. Very nice. The file on this is pretty large. I took the saw off. There's a saw blade that goes with it. I took that one off for the moment, but this has a diamond file and a metal file on this side. I love having the diamond file. I had that years ago on another tool, and I lost that one. That's the only time I ever get rid of a Leatherman, is when I lose it. I've had them for years. I've never managed to really break one beyond usage. Every now and then I've been using it improperly and I snapped a knife blade off by accident, but I still go back to Leatherman every time. They make excellent tools. So there's your file. On the other side, over here, you got scissors, and they're much larger scissors than the Wingman. They feel much heavier duty. I'll give them a chance and see how long they hold up. The Wingman, they wore out very quickly. These ones, they feel much heavier, so I'll give them a shot and see how long they last. But they feel pretty good. One thing worth noting on the blades, the locking mechanism. If you're familiar with the liner lock type knives, I've been using those for years, so I'm pretty familiar with it. One thing worth noting is I'm pretty used to just using my thumb, just my bare thumb, on most liner locks. You can just push the meat of your thumb and it closes right up. On this one, you kind of got to have a fingernail to do it, because if you just use the meaty part of your thumb, you're not going to be able to push the liner down far enough. So you kind of got to get a fingernail on it and just get that extra little bit just to push that down. Once you get a feel for that, though, it's just second nature. It just pops right in. So very nice. I like those blades a lot. The pliers, it is brand new, so it does kind of needs to wear in and maybe get a little easier to kind of lock in. Right now it takes a little bit of force just because they're brand new. But it does have more tools inside. You got a very wide slotted head screwdriver. You got an awl on this side. I don't know who uses that these days. I don't know who's actually sewing leather with an awl these days, but it is there. Maybe you need to poke something. Maybe you need to put a hole in something. It's there if you need it. You got your eyeglass screwdriver here. It's pretty handy. That's pretty unique in a multi-tool, actually, just to have that. And it does flip around. You got a very small eyeglass Phillips head on one side and a very small slotted head screwdriver on the opposite side. And again, that just clips. It just slides right in. And I believe they do sell different. You can get a replacement one of these with different tips, but it just comes with the one. It just comes with the one Phillips and slotted. All the blades do lock in. There's a locking mechanism on the back side for the inside tools. So once those are out, they lock in, and all you do is you just push the little button right there, and they pop closed. On the other side here, we have it's a Phillips head and a slotted head. It's a removable bit, and it just pops out, pops back in, and you got two tools in one section. You also got on this side, you got your bottle opener, in case you want to crack open some beers with a multi-tool. More power to you. It's there if you want it. The pliers on this are significantly bigger than the compact Wingman. Just side by side, they're a little bit wider. They're a little bit thicker. These are pretty heavy duty. The pocket, as I said, I got the pocket clip. I prefer not to have the sheath on the belt, although I do have the sheath for the Crunch. But I still love having the pocket carry, especially with the outside opening blades. One thing that I did notice about this, though, the Surge compared to the Wingman, as I mentioned with the Wingman, when you pull it out of your pocket, where the clip is, when you pull it out, your thumb is already on the opening mechanism, so it's very quick. With the Surge, the way the pocket clip sits, you pull it out and you're on the wrong side, so you got to give it a flip to come back around to the knife blade. Not a deal killer. I'm still digging it, but it's just worth noting that it's a little less convenient than the Wingman. Much larger size, though. Just comparing the blade sizes here, the Surge is definitely the largest blade out of the bunch. Side by side, you can see it's significantly larger. There's the straight blade, and I'll show you the serrated blade next to it. Serrated blade over here. Again, just a much larger, beefier blade. It does come razor sharp out of the box. I can't really describe it here, but it's incredibly sharp. Leatherman's very good at that. Moving on, the last one here, the Gerber Multitool. This is the last one out of the bunch, and really, I don't even carry this. I really never have. Some people love them just because it has one-handed opening pliers, if you want that, but personally, it's not really worth it. I'd much rather have the one-hand opening knife blade. I use that a lot more. I really have no need to have one-handed opening pliers if they don't have the knife blade. The knife, you still got to open on the inside. So you got to pop that open and then fiddle around and get the knife blade out. So really, it's designed around the pliers, not designed around the knife. It does have two knife blades on here, similar to the Surge. You have a serrated on one side, and you have the straight edge blade on the opposite side. This one, I believe, is about the smallest one out of the bunch. The Wingman and the Gerber are both pretty similar in size, both about the same, compared to the Surge, which had by far the largest blade. With the and again too, comparing this with the Crunch, just having the blade on the opposite side means that when you're trying to cut something, you can't get the blade all the way down onto it. You're just not going to fit. It does have a pretty good selection of tools on the inside. You got three different slotted head screwdrivers on this side with a bottle opener in the middle. And on the opposite side, you got your Phillips head, and you got another bottle opener with, I guess you could use that as a small slotted head screwdriver, or just poke holes and stuff. It does have the lanyard ring that comes in there. I've never really known anyone who uses a lanyard ring on a multi-tool. I've never seen anyone do it, but if you want to do it, it's there for you. And that's the Gerber. Again, if you're looking for one-handed opening pliers, Gerber's going to be your only. It's going to be your only one that does that. But it's not really what I'm looking for. So what I am looking for is quick access to a knife blade and to have pliers as a backup if I need them. And that's really what the Leatherman is going to give you. Quick access to a knife blade, and the pliers are there when you need them. So that's the four of these. Again, they're all pretty good. I tend to knock the Gerber just because personal preference, I don't like it. But it is very sturdy. It's heavy duty, and it's got a lot of power to the pliers. But just personal preference is not what I'm looking for. The rest of these are all very good choices. Once again, the Crunch is not going to be, I don't recommend that as your one carry. If you're going to carry one tool, the Crunch really isn't going to be it for you, but it is a very good backup. These other two, for the money, you cannot beat the Leatherman Wingman. It's very $20 to $30 for it, and it's incredibly versatile. It's very strong. It's a very good choice. Comes with the pocket clip already. With the Surge, it's a much bigger tool. It's got more tools inside of it. It's heavier. It feels a little stronger. Bigger blades in it. However, it does cost more money. I think I paid about $60 for the Surge on Amazon. I paid another $8 for the clip. So all in all, you're looking at almost $70 for this and $25 to $30 for this. It all depends on what you want. Either one of these is gonna do you very well. So that's just my 2 cents. It can go from there and take your pick. See which one works for you. Thanks.